believe that, you know, you had all these people, but sure enough you did. Obviously John inspires a huge amount of kind of affection across a whole different kind of range of people. How did you get those guys in the film, and tell us a bit about the process of kind of getting such an amazing cast list?
Well, it's completely goodwill towards John. I mean, we're very lucky. If you want to make a documentary, get somebody who's as popular as John, because people will say yes. The thing is about John, what you see on the stage is him, like Wilco Johnson. That is John on the stage. It's a slightly exaggerated version of him, but off stage that is John, and he's a gentleman, and he's an absolute, he's just the loveliest guy. And people, you know, they remember that. They remember John, not just his talent, but they remember who he is. So when the call came, you know, would you like to speak about John in this film? Nobody said no to us. So we were just very, very lucky.
And it's obviously a career that covers quite a long period of time, and you've got to make a film in 60 minutes about it.
Yeah.
You've got some archive, you've got some contemporary performance. How do you choose which bits you want to tell, which bits you want to leave out, and kind of how do you find the structure for such a long career in an hour?
Well, the thing is, me and Scotty, as you said, we have day jobs, so we made this at weekends, in the evening, sometimes through the night. In fact, one of the interviews we did with John, at a small corner bar, that's actually my flat in Nottingham, that's my bar, it's my little Delboy bar. And we'd both been at work all day, we'd done a shift. John came over, and we filmed that through the night. We couldn't use the last hour of it because we were all completely pissed. But I forgot the question, sorry.
About how you fit a kind of 40-year career into an hour. How do you choose which bits you want to focus on, which bits you want to leave out?
Well, you keep filming, you know, when you've got such a calibre of people saying yes to interviews all the time, you just keep filming because you just feel like you can't leave anyone out, you can't say no to these people because they're such credible witnesses, if you like. So you keep filming, and I think anyone who's ever made a documentary that they've been proud of, they'll tell you that you need a brilliant editor, and we were lucky enough in Lucas Roach to have such a guy. Lucas, take a bow, mate. Come on. You need a great editor. That's your man there.
Also, the Dead Man Shoes. Google it, find it.
Shane Manners.
You need a good editor. LucasRoach.com. I will tell you, the two guys here with cameras, the guys who are filming a lot of these interviews. Stephen Shield.
Steve Shield, Chris Cook, Gareth Howard is here. Micaiah Dream. Go on, mate, sorry.
Still working, 2.5 years on.
They're still, I've told them the film's not finished yet, so that's what they do. No, big thanks to you guys. And also Micaiah Dream, who did some camera work. She's not here tonight. Gareth Howell, who did some, all for free, of course.
The beauty that's came out of this is it's conceived a new idea, it's conceived a new show. Everybody in the film, we asked them, we've got this idea of a John Cooper Clarke chat show. Would you like to be in it? Yeah. So we're now kind of picturing and taking forward this idea of a Johnny Clarke chat show. So, do you want to be in it? You know? So just keep your eyes open. The beauty of this is that it's gave birth to something else that have longer legs. And for the first time in a long time, let's say, put your hands together for John Cooper Clarke.
Thanks, Scotty. Thanks, Scotty. Thanks for coming.
So I think you should probably interview us, John, but thank you very much for coming. And can you tell us a little bit about how it feels to sit there and watch that film?
Well, it's the 6th time I've seen it in the last 3 days. I was joining in with the choruses. No, great. I couldn't be happy. In the words of Diamond Joe Quimby, I couldn't be happier with the way that went. No, fantastic. It's their first outing as well. I don't know whether you know that. It's their debut here. They never made no movies before. Fresh out of movie college. Fresh out of movie college.
And can I ask you a really shallow question that's not in the film?
The shallower the better.
So, can I just ask you about
I'm a skimmer of surfaces, Adam.
Can I ask you about your image? So, because I think you've got an amazing kind of strong image that kind of you could draw in 3 lines and go, that's John Cooper Clarke. Tell us a bit about kind of where it comes from and
the
how
evolution of my image, what I laughingly call my image. It's the result of 35 years of, in fact no, 65 years nearly. Oh, why overstate it? I like to overstate it, then people say, you look marvellous. But no, it's the result of many years of damage limitation. You know, I got my fingers burnt on the Hawaiian shirt front. But you only ever make them sort of mistakes once. So really, I've been dressing like this really since 1965. No deviations in between. You know, it really is. It's a damage limitation. You find out what you can get away with. It's what you look least bad in, and then just stick to that. That's my. Well, you know what Sinatra says about a hat. How do you know when you bought the right hat? When you put it on and nobody laughs. Yeah, that'll do.
And can I ask you just one question about punk? Because you must be really kind of fed up with talking about punk. But
I don't mind.
It's very interesting to watch that film in that context, and I've interviewed a lot of people from that era.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people came out that era. I think it was kind of slightly mixed feelings, because part of it was kind of, you know, you weren't supposed to make it. It was a protest.
Professional loser.
How do you...
I think I've kept within the guidelines. Not guilty. I got in this business to sell out. The worst thing you can say to a punk rocker is, the worst thing you can accuse of, the worst insult is, sell out. But I'm from a showbiz background where that can only be a good thing. How's the tickets at sellout? Fantastic. But no, that's the worst insult you can aim at a punk rocker, is to sell out. But like I say, that's why I got in this business. You know, I've been doing a lot of adverts lately, and I've had these principles for sale for the last 35 years. They only come knocking the last 3 months.
And poetry. Let me ask you about poetry. So when you started out, it was very sensational for someone like you to be doing something called poetry.
Yeah, it was incongruous, Adam. Yeah.
Poetry's changed a bit over that time, and there's a lot more kind of people working with the spoken word and so on. How do you feel about that? Do you still feel like you sit on the edge of it, or do you feel in the heart of it?
I can't help feeling partly responsible. Put it that way. But no, I've always loved poetry. I loved it when I was at school. You know, I enjoyed the lesson. I thought it was great, and you know, we used to learn all the old guys. You know, the old school guys. You know, Tennyson, Sir Henry Newbolt, John Masefield was about as modern as it got. But it instilled in me a love of that kind of thing. Poetry with a capital P. No, it did. I mean, I loved it. In fact, I'm right on Michael Gove's side on this, actually, if you can quote. It's a hot topic, isn't it? Should kids be taught to learn poems off by heart? Well, all I can say is, it never did me any harm.
So I think I'm going to give up trying to interview.
No, I'm very grateful, actually. I'm very grateful. I'm going to expand on that. No, I'm very grateful that the wonderful poetry of the 19th century was rammed down my reluctant throat. The thing about children is they don't know anything, but they think they know everything. So it's great when somebody is dedicated enough to go to the trouble of ramming it down your reluctant throat. You won't understand it when you're 8 years old because it's been written by an adult. But if you learn it off by heart, 35 years later, that's going to strike a chord in your head. And it will be somehow helpful in dealing with the situation. I thoroughly believe that. I think, yeah, you've got to force it on them. Nobody's born with a love of poetry. You've got to brainwash them into it.
And one more serious question, and then I think I should let the audience talk to you. When you think of poems, is it what's the relationship between the words and the written down and the speaking and the performance? It seems to me, when I see you perform it, it's the whole thing, but when you're thinking of them, where do they come from?
Well, I'm hard and fast on this. I think if a poem doesn't sound good when it's read aloud, it's shit. as poetry, because poetry is music on its best behaviour. It's language on its best behaviour. The best definition of poetry I can think of is the best possible words in the best possible order. Well, that's a pretty wide brief, and there's no excuse for skimping on it.
Brilliant. So let's take some questions from the audience. This gentleman in the middle here.
Hi gents, it's Mark Ashmore here from the Black Lion where you filmed.
Hi Mark, yeah.
We've never met because I wasn't there on the day when you came down. It's kind of a two-part thing I want to say to you. It's first of all, in lieu of you not having a mobile phone and all that kind of thing, we'd like to invite you in September to screen the film and maybe do a performance. And then the second part is, since you wrote on the wall in the Black Lion, we get loads of people asking the connection and stuff there. Do you have any anecdotes or stories or musings about the Black Lion that you could share so I could tell the customers when they come in for a pint?
The Black Lion was a jazz club when I first started going there. There was a resident band called the Zenith Six, and they had a great singer called Marcia McConnell, so I used to go there every Friday anyway. And then they started having these sort of open nights. I guess the nearest that you could say to a folk club that I've ever appeared at. But it wasn't strictly a folk club, but they did have folk singers on there. I remember, the one memory I have is that Christy Moore was a regular there. And that was like, 40 years ago, and 45 years ago even, maybe. And he looked 10 years older than he looks now. It's the drink. He's giving up on the drink. He looks like a handsome young fella now, but as opposed to me, who I'll probably never live long enough to look as I probably will never. How do I put this? I don't think I'll live long enough to be as old as I look. But it's not like I can give anything up and improve things anymore, This is what I'm left with. It's enough to drive you to opiate drugs. one wouldn't hurt, would it, Johnny?
More questions, please. Do we have any questions from Twitter? That sounded really exciting, but I don't know how it works.
What was that? What have I been invited to, by the way? What's this?
Well, ever since you came, everyone's asking and everyone's going like the Black Lion and John Cooper Clarke and all this sort of thing, and we don't know how to get in touch. Obviously, I do
have an agent, and he lives in Manchester. Also, I can give you his number. He's got a mobile phone.
That's a start. Fantastic. Cheers.
Can I ask you about the North, John? Because you're very much identified as the kind of man from Salford.
Well, I'm from Essex. I've been an Essex guy for the last 49 years. No, I am an Essex guy now. I moved there. I find that Essex embodies the values that I grew up with more than Manchester does now. Actually, it's an art ghetto. Manchester's this art ghetto now, but they're honest, hard-working, blue-collar folks where I live now, and it's great. But my kind of people. God's country, Essex, where God pays attention.
There's the one here.
Essex. But you can ask me about the North, though. I just did that the swerve, What do you want to ask me about the North?
I'll show my age here. I've been coming to this festival for probably about 20 years now, and kind of seen Sheffield change a lot in that time, and obviously...
Sheffield is a new Manchester, rock and roll-wise.
Yeah. What do you feel about the new North versus the old North?
I don't go up there very often, let me say that, there's not very many people I know up there. And of course, at my age, the only reason to visit your own town is because somebody's died. So, I never look forward to going up there or doing gigs there particularly, I've got to say. I think a lot of people are like that about their hometown. I would refer you to Mr. Richard Starkey and his views of Liverpool. Do you ever go back there, Ringo? No. Why would I do that? moments I've been avoiding all my fucking life.
More questions?
Hi. Given that you've got loads of great new poems now, when can we expect the new John Cooper Clarke record, given it's...
No record. I haven't got any plans for any records unless it's a bunch of cover versions of the Great American Songbook.
Oh, come on.
But I do have a book coming out this year, hopefully. But record-wise, you know, yeah, what would you do? I don't know. I wouldn't mind doing that. Pin-ups, like that one of David Bowie. The one that David Bowie wrote. Those we have loved.
What do you listen
I could carry a tune.
What do you listen to at home, John? What do you like to listen to?
Well, my net is wide. I mean, as you probably know, I've got my own show. And I have had 4 weeks on 6 Music, and DJing is. I love that. You know, I've been wanting to get in that game since. Well, it was in the Guardian the other day. Ever since I seen Pete Murray on Jukebox Jury in 1962. Sandwiched between 2 of the hottest bitches of the period. That's my gig. I had to get into this poetry lab just to sort of secure the job, I think. So it's been a long process, a long and wide. The road to DJ stardom is long and pointless.
I hope we're not filming this. Yes, gentleman at the back.
No, it's great DJ. So if you've heard my shows on 6 Music, then you'll know that musically, my net is wide.
Do you keep up?
Like
do you keep up with new stuff?
Not too much, but you know, you can't avoid it. I've got a teenage daughter, so a lot of it gets through to me. I don't go seeking out new bands or anything like that, but the last time I did, it was the Arctic Monkeys. So I got my finger on the pulse. You know what I mean? But I'll never have all the records I want already, so you know, I don't actually go out of my way looking for new records to put on to add to the list, if you see what I mean. You know what I mean? It's not that you know, some of it, you know, there's a lot of good shit about, don't get me wrong.
The question, gentleman at the back.
Yeah, your style is obviously unmistakable with the rhythm and the rhyme, and I was just wondering have you ever written a poem that doesn't rhyme?
Oh, loads, yeah, loads of them, yeah. Yeah, but they've got to have some other dynamic going for them, you know. If they're not going to rhyme, they've got to have some sort of groove involved. It's as I said on the film, you know, I don't like to analyse the MO too much, but you know when it's right, you know when it's right, you know when it ain't right. But I prefer, you know, I like rhyming anyway. I've always liked sort of rhyme, but I've written loads of stuff that doesn't rhyme, yeah, loads of it, yeah. Yeah, in answer to your question, and do all the time. But I mean, then it's only a poem. It's only a poem, because you say it is, isn't it? But, you know, why is it a poem then? You know, you hear people say, you're reading sexual stuff that doesn't rhyme, and you kind of, sometimes it's like, why is that a poem? Because he said it is. and it's straight along the left-hand side and ragged along the right-hand side. But I like it when the last word on a line sounds like the last word on the line before. I love it when that happens.
So there you go, guys. That's really easy, isn't it? Right, walk up this gentleman.
Hi, John.
Hiya.
I've seen you loads of times live over the years, right back to 77, 78.
Thanks, mate.
No problem. And I just wondered, do you find when you do gigs down south compared to gigs up north, that the audiences endear to you more in the north than they do in the south?
No, and case in point, I did Chester last week, Telford Warehouse. Very small gig for me, but I like the guy that runs it, Jez. We did it. I was expecting him to feel really grateful that I'd appeared.